The woman he loses once and regrets forever, he doesn't realize it at first. She walks into his life quietly, yet with a presence that feels impossible to ignore. Her laughter lingers in the corners of ordinary days. Her understanding seems to anticipate what he doesn't even say, and the way she sees him, truly sees him, feels like a mirror he's never had before. And yet, somehow, he lets her slip away. It's not because she was hard to love, it's because he didn't recognize the rarity of what he had until it was gone. Regret doesn't arrive slowly, it hits all at once in the silence of absence. The moments they shared become sharper in memory, every laugh, every glance, every conversation weighing heavier as he realizes that the woman he lost is someone he will never replace, and someone he will never stop missing. Recognizing uniqueness is about understanding the depth and rarity of a person before it's too late. Some women enter our lives and carry a presence that is not easily duplicated. It isn't about beauty alone, or charm, or superficial traits. It's in the way she listens without judgment, how she intuitively knows when to give space or when to offer comfort. It's the small habits, the quiet consistency, the subtle ways she makes life feel fuller and lighter, even in the simplest moments. These qualities are not obvious to everyone. They are felt, experienced, and gradually woven into the fabric of daily life. Often, the problem is that people take these qualities for granted, assuming that presence is permanent, forgetting that what is rare is also fragile. Her uniqueness lies in the way she changes the rhythm of a day simply by being there. Conversations with her are not just exchanges of words, they are moments of insight, reflection, and connection that linger in memory long after they end. She challenges without pressure, supports without expectation, and encourages growth, not by demanding it, but by showing it through example. This kind of depth is uncommon, and it cannot be reproduced or replaced with someone who appears similar on the surface. Losing her is not just losing a companion, it is losing a rare force that subtly reshapes life itself. Understanding uniqueness also requires awareness of the emotional imprint she leaves. She may have taught patience, resilience, or the courage to express vulnerability. She may have made ordinary routines feel meaningful and turned fleeting moments into lasting memories. The lessons she imparts, whether intentional or unconscious, are tied to her presence in a way that is difficult to articulate but impossible to ignore once she is gone. Recognizing her uniqueness means seeing her as someone whose value is intrinsic, not contingent on what she does for you, but on who she is and the life she has brought into your orbit. The tragedy is that this recognition often comes too late. People only see the true magnitude of someone's presence when it is absent, when the ordinary becomes extraordinary in hindsight. By the time they realize how irreplaceable she was, the chance to cherish, nurture, or honor that uniqueness may have passed. It is in this space between presence and absence that regret grows, fueled by the awareness that some qualities, some people, cannot be substituted. Her uniqueness is not just a feature, it is a reflection of the rarity of genuine connection, the kind that transforms life subtly, profoundly, and irreversibly. The power of connection is what makes some relationships unforgettable, what makes the absence of a person leave a void that no one else can fill. It is not merely about shared time, physical proximity, or surface-level compatibility. True connection goes deeper. It is built on understanding, trust, and the unspoken language of hearts that recognize each other without needing to explain. With her, every moment carries weight because the bond feels alive, reciprocal, and genuine. Conversation is effortless, yet profound. Silence is comfortable, yet full of meaning. These connections are rare because they are not constructed or forced. They grow naturally in the space where vulnerability, respect, and authenticity meet. They teach you that closeness is not about control, but about presence, attention, and the willingness to meet someone fully, without expectation or pretense. A meaningful connection is transformative. It shapes the way one sees the world, influences decisions, and alters priorities without overt instruction. When a woman leaves such a mark, she changes more than the external rhythm of life. She changes the internal landscape, the way love is perceived, the way trust is extended, the way emotional intimacy is experienced. The bond becomes a benchmark, a standard for future relationships because it demonstrates how deeply two people can resonate with each other. The realization of losing her is painful, not just because she is gone, but because the kind of connection she offered cannot be replicated. It was rare, nuanced, and layered, and its absence is profoundly felt. The power of connection is also in its subtlety. It is often expressed in small acts. The gentle patience when moods fluctuate, the attentive listening when words falter, the the sense of safety that allows both people to reveal their truest selves. These are not flashy gestures, but they accumulate into something extraordinary, a trust and intimacy that feels almost sacred. Losing such a connection leaves a vacuum not because the relationship failed, but because the bond was exceptional and irreplaceable. It is a reminder that real human connection requires presence, effort, and openness, and that failing to recognize it while it exists can lead to lasting regret. Moreover, connection is inseparable from understanding. To truly connect with someone is to grasp the nuances of their character, the ways they navigate the world, their unspoken fears, their dreams, their humor, and their quiet resilience. It is not something that can be substituted or replicated by another person because it is tied to a unique combination of timing, compatibility, and shared vulnerability. The absence of such a connection is therefore a loss of something profoundly intimate, a mirror to one's own self, reflected back with care, honesty, and depth. It is in this light that regret grows, because once lost, the depth of connection is understood, appreciated, and mourned with clarity. The impact of someone we lose often reveals itself long after they are gone. She shapes him in ways that are subtle at first but become undeniable over time. Her presence challenges habits, perspectives, and beliefs, not through criticism or force, but through her authenticity, her thoughtfulness, and the way she encourages him to engage with the world more honestly. Being with her demands vulnerability, patience, and empathy, and these qualities leave an imprint that continues to shape behavior and decision-making long after she is no longer present. In losing her, he begins to recognize how much he had been influenced by her presence, the gentle corrections, the encouragements, the moments of reflection she inspired. Growth is often invisible when it happens in real time, but loss makes it starkly visible, illuminating the depth of her influence and the ways he has been quietly molded by her. Her impact is not limited to emotional lessons. It touches identity, values, and understanding of relationships. She may have taught him what patience looks like, how to navigate disagreements with grace, or how to communicate from a place of empathy rather than ego. She may have shown him the importance of presence, the value of attentiveness, and the quiet strength of support. These are not lessons delivered as directives. They are absorbed in daily life, in shared experiences, and in the subtle modeling of her character. Her influence seeps into the way he treats others, how he values honesty, and how he approaches love itself. Losing her suddenly reveals how integral her presence was to his development, and the void left is as much about missing her as it is about missing the growth she inspired. The woman he loses often becomes a mirror to his better self. In her absence, he recognizes not just her value, but how she shaped the person he is or could be. He realizes that she encouraged him to confront weaknesses, embrace strengths, and step into emotional depth he may have avoided before. The process of reflection that follows her loss is a painful reminder of what was missed while she was present, and how the opportunity to grow alongside her is now gone. In many ways, the regret he feels is inseparable from this awareness. Losing her is not just losing companionship, it is losing a catalyst for becoming a fuller, more aware version of himself. This kind of impact is profound because it cannot be duplicated. Another person may come along offering companionship or even affection, but the way she shaped his growth, through patience, understanding, and genuine care, cannot be replicated. The lessons she embedded, consciously or unconsciously, are tied to her presence, her personality, and the timing of their shared experiences. Recognizing the depth of her impact is a form of both admiration and sorrow, a dual awareness that she was transformative and irreplaceable, and that the person he became with her by his side is now forever altered by her absence. The weight of regret is one of the heaviest burdens a person can carry, and it grows quietly, often unnoticed until the absence of someone irreplaceable exposes it fully. Regret doesn't arrive merely because someone is gone. It arrives because it takes time to understand what was lost, how rare it was, and how deeply it shaped one's life. Losing a woman who was extraordinary is not simply about missing companionship. It is about realizing too late the profound ways she influenced happiness, growth, and perspective. Regret is amplified when the uniqueness of what was shared only becomes clear after she is no longer present, when her laughter, her understanding, her warmth, and her unwavering presence are replaced by silence and emptiness. It is a quiet, persistent ache, a recognition that certain opportunities, certain moments of love, patience, and intimacy cannot be regained. The weight of regret is compounded by hindsight, actions, words, or choices that might have seemed inconsequential at the time, now carry immense significance. Perhaps there were moments when patience was abandoned, understanding was withheld, or attention was diverted elsewhere. In retrospect, these small lapses take on the enormity of lost chances, magnifying the absence and highlighting the irreplaceable nature of her presence. Regret is therefore not just a feeling of sorrow, but a confrontation with one's own failures to fully honor, appreciate, or protect the rare connection that existed. It becomes a mirror, reflecting both what was treasured and what was neglected. Regret also exists as a measure of value. The intensity of it speaks to how deeply she mattered, how transformative her presence was, and how impossible it is to replace the bond shared. It is not merely the loss of her company or affection, it is the recognition that she was someone who shaped life in a way that no one else could. Every ordinary moment shared becomes extraordinary in memory, every conversation replayed, every gesture reconsidered. The mind repeatedly returns to these moments, searching for ways to undo what cannot be undone, longing for chances that no longer exist. This is why the weight of regret feels almost tangible. It is rooted in the irreplaceability. Thank you of her presence, yet regret is also instructive. Though it is painful, it teaches awareness, empathy, and the value of recognizing the significance of people before they are gone. It illuminates the truth that relationships are fragile and rare connections demand presence, appreciation, and care. The heaviness of regret is a reflection of the love that existed and the lessons that were embedded in her influence. While it cannot reverse loss, it serves as a profound reminder of what truly matters: attentiveness, authenticity, and cherishing what cannot be recreated. The weight is unbearable because the person lost was extraordinary, a rare force whose absence transforms life in ways that linger indefinitely, shaping understanding, choices, and the capacity to value what remains in the future. Lessons from loss are often hidden in the quiet aftermath of absence, revealing themselves slowly, like sunlight filtering through clouds. Losing a woman who is rare and irreplaceable forces a reckoning with reality, the ways in which love, care, and presence were taken for granted, the moments when attention or understanding might have been withheld, and the fragile nature of human connection itself. These lessons are rarely about blame, they are about awareness. They teach us that relationships are not guaranteed, that people who enter our lives with depth and authenticity are precious, and that missing the chance to fully appreciate them carries consequences that linger long after they leave. The lessons are both practical and emotional: to recognize the subtleties of what someone brings into your life, to pay attention to their presence, and to understand that rare connectio NS cannot be manufactured or replaced. One of the most profound lessons from such a loss is the importance of presence. Presence is more than just being physically nearby. It is being emotionally and mentally engaged, attuned to the nuances of someone's character and needs. She might have offered patience, understanding, or quiet encouragement that shaped his life in ways he did not notice at the time. Losing her illuminates the value of these moments, demonstrating that real connection requires active attention and care. The lesson is clear: meaningful bonds cannot thrive on autopilot or neglect. They demand recognition and investment, and their absence teaches that failing to honor them has a cost. Another lesson from loss is the fragility and impermanence of life and love. Even the strongest connections are subject to circumstance, timing, and human imperfection. Realizing that someone irreplaceable can be gone forever brings clarity to the idea that life is fleeting, that emotions are delicate, and that relationships should be nurtured while there is still time. It teaches humility, showing that no matter how certain we feel in a relationship, we are never fully in control of its permanence. This awareness encourages introspection, prompting reflection on how we treat others, how we express gratitude, and how we value the rare people who enter our lives. Loss also teaches empathy and the importance of emotional authenticity. Experiencing the absence of someone profoundly important shows us how our actions, inattention, or misunderstanding can affect others. It reinforces the need to communicate, to listen, and to approach relationships with honesty and care. The lessons are not theoretical, they are lived and internalized, shaping future choices and the capacity to cultivate deeper, more meaningful connections. Ultimately, lessons from loss are transformative. They turn pain into insight, absence into awareness, and regret into understanding. They remind us that some people are irreplaceable, not only because of who they are, but because of how they intersect with our lives. Their departure leaves an imprint, guiding us toward greater appreciation, presence, and care in every relationship we engage with thereafter. Hope and reflection are the gentle lights that emerge after loss, offering a path forward when regret and sorrow feel overwhelming. Losing someone irreplaceable leaves a void that cannot be filled, yet within that emptiness lies an opportunity to understand, to learn, and to carry their influence into the future. Hope is not about forgetting the pain or pretending that what was lost was insignificant. It is about trusting that life continues to offer meaning, connection, and growth. Reflection allows us to examine the relationship honestly, to see both the moments of joy and the lessons embedded in absence, and to recognize how deeply that person shaped who we are. Together, hope and reflection transform loss from a source of despair into a catalyst for understanding, resilience, and personal evolution. Reflection encourages a careful look at the bond, the qualities that made her irreplaceable, and the ways her presence contributed to growth and happiness. It allows one to see that her influence continues, even when she is no longer physically present. Through reflection, memories of shared laughter, conversations, and quiet companionship are no longer just reminders of absence. They become guiding markers, illustrating what genuine connection feels like and what it demands. This clarity fosters hope, because it teaches that while no one can occupy her exact space, the principles, values, and lessons she brought into life can continue to shape decisions, behavior, and emotional depth. Hope is also about the possibility of love, understanding, and meaningful connections in the future, even if they are different from what was lost. It is the acknowledgement that life is ongoing and that while some people leave a permanent imprint, this imprint can serve as a compass, guiding us toward relationships that honor authenticity, attentiveness, and care. The presence of regret does not negate hope. Rather, it strengthens it, reminding us that the capacity to recognize and cherish someone truly remarkable is part of what makes love so powerful. Reflection transforms regret into wisdom, and wisdom fosters hope for what can still be experienced, learned, and felt. Moreover, hope and reflection encourage self-awareness and growth. They show that even in loss, there is an opportunity to become more present, more appreciative, and more conscious in future relationships. They teach the importance of attentiveness and of valuing what is rare while it exists, reinforcing the lessons of gratitude, patience, and vulnerability. In this way, the absence of someone extraordinary does not become only a source of sorrow. It becomes a source of guidance, shaping how life is approached with greater intention and emotional awareness. Ultimately, hope and reflection are not about replacing what was lost, but about honoring it while moving forward. They remind us that love and loss are inseparable parts of life, that meaningful connections leave indelible marks, and that the experiences we carry, both joyful and painful, equip us to engage more fully with the world. Even after losing someone unforgettable, hope and reflection make it possible to live consciously, love authentically, and carry forward the lessons of what was once cherished. In the end, the woman he loses is never truly forgotten because she leaves a mark that cannot be erased. She changes him, shapes him, and teaches him lessons that linger long after her absence. Losing her is not just the loss of a companion, it is the loss of a rare connection, a depth of understanding, and a presence that cannot be replaced. Yet even in that loss, there is clarity, a reminder of what genuine love, attention, and care feel like, and why they must be cherished when present. Regret may weigh heavily, but it also carries wisdom. Her absence teaches the value of recognizing rarity, embracing vulnerability, and living with awareness. Some people are unforgettable not because they are perfect, but because their presence transforms life in ways that echo forever, shaping the heart, the mind, and the choices we make as we move forward.